Hello and welcome to the Habit Coach podcast. I'm Ashdin Doctor, your habit coach, and today with us in the hot seat we have Rashni. She says, I have been working towards my goal in life and giving it my all, and constantly failing. Failed in the past 6 attempts. Now, I feel as if I'm dwindling with my capabilities and efforts, and I don't know how to keep pushing it. Over the period of time, it is making me overthink and doubt myself. How do I keep myself thinking less and working more? And I love this question because, whenever we are doing these podcasts and there are hosts that ask, trying to do difficult questions to ask me, one question they often ask is, what will be written on your tombstone? Okay. Now, it's a question that is interesting and I suggest you ask it to yourself as well. But my answer to that is, on my tombstone, these simple words will be written. He failed, 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 and then won. And that is the key. Failure is the most important step to winning. Winston Churchill said this. He said that courage is the ability to move from failure to failure without losing your excitement or without losing that energy. I think I've completely murdered the quote, but it is something like that. And I think that is the key to understanding what failure and success is all about. Failure is nothing but a stepping stone. If you see failure as the end destination, well, then you failed because you ended on a failure. But if you think of failure as one step forward or the next step forward, you will suddenly realize that when you finally do win and say, this is my destination, you've arrived. But you have to think of those steps as your failures. How do you move from one failure to the next without losing your enthusiasm? That is the key. So your enthusiasm comes from being able to visualize your goal. And this is something that I suggest all of us do. Whenever you have a goal in mind, so for example, my current goal is to sell 1 million copies of my book. What I do is I sit and I close my eyes and I picture what that would look like. How many books that have been sold? What would my feelings be towards something like that? Because remember, your emotions that you create, the feelings that you create, the emotions are nothing but energy in motion. Now, if you can create a motion towards that enthusiasm, that is the kind of feeling and emotion you're going to be creating. So I close my eyes and I feel enthusiastic of the number of people that I'm helping with this book. I close my eyes and think of the vast number of countries that this book has gone to. And this is what keeps me motivated and going. This is what keeps me moving forward without losing my enthusiasm. Chances are, when the book comes out, nobody buys it. And I'm perfectly fine with that. As long as I see that as a failure and a stepping stone, I learn from it and I know what is the next step that I can do for it. I was reading about authors because currently, like I said, I'm doing this book and I'm finding out about how authors succeeded in what they're doing. And many best-selling authors, in fact, heroes of mine like Terry Pratchett, Neil Gaiman, they have sat in bookshops for signings and no one has come for that signing. Now, that in their mind was a failure. But it happens so often and it happens so many times that they realize that this is just the step to ultimately becoming best-selling authors, becoming world famous. So you realize that these failures are important steps. The key is not losing your enthusiasm. Your enthusiasm comes by understanding what that end goal is going to do for you, both at an emotional level, at a life level, maybe for your family. You have to figure out what that end goal is for. Sometimes, and very rarely, if you don't have that end goal clearly in mind, or if you realize that the end goal is not going to make you happy, it's not going to give you that satisfaction, it is not going to be taking care of your family or you are going to give you that yacht or that Ferrari that you want, then what you need to do is to understand that failure has happened and I have now to drop my goal. Because you suddenly realize that there's no enthusiasm left. And then you move to find something new to do. That entire episode becomes one step in your journey of life. These 6 failures that have happened can all be clubbed together as just one step in this journey towards your ultimate goal. But you must have an ultimate goal, a direction that you're aiming towards. Because when that happens, that feeling is what's going to drive you past all these failures. past all these hurdles that you will face. You will not look at problems as issues, but you will look at problems as excitements. When I see a problem now, I get excited. I was like, ooh, what can I use in my toolbox to deal with this? What experience will I get from this problem in order to help me out in the future? Many people say that, Ashdin, you have no idea the kind of challenges I'm going through right now. And I was like, good, because these challenges are preparing you, are making you harder for what you possibly are going to be facing in the future. Maybe your future challenge is 100 times worse than what's going on right now. And this challenge is going to teach you for that. You talk to somebody who's much elder than you, your grandparents, they have wisdom. They will tell you that what they thought was hard later on in life was just easy. And that is the power of failure. You challenge yourself, you learn from that failure, and you move forward. So, to conclude, from your failure, if you haven't learned something, it is a complete failure. So learn something from the failure. The second, if you lose enthusiasm, it is a failure. So don't lose enthusiasm. And finally, remember to end with your goal winning instead of your goal failing. And that's all it is. Take one step till you reach that goal. All right. Now, if you want me to answer your question on the next Hot Seat episode, check out the link below and send me a nice juicy question on what you are currently going through, and I'm going to answer it right here on the Habit Coach podcast. I'm Ashdin Doctor, your habit coach, and remember, awesome lives start with awesome habits.